Hey, it's Jeff McNichol down here at Mom's Music, 1900 Melwood Avenue. I was just thinking, when I was a kid, the magic was at Frankfort Avenue, the Mom's Music at Frankfort Avenue, and I used to beg people to get a ride down there just to hang out with the guys and see all the cool gear. Now that I'm the owner of this store, it's like a dream come true. We're recreating the magic with the vibe that we used to have at the old store. We're carrying all the gear that you're going to possibly want. We're giving you the outstanding service and personal attention that you deserve. Yeah, so we've got the great guitar shop here. We're carrying USA Fender, USA Gibson, Paul Reed Smith, Gretsch, Jackson, Charvel, anything you could possibly want, we're going to have it for you. Mom's is and always will be Louisville's music store.
Thank you for tuning into the Metal Forge. I am Mark Jackson and I am your host. The premise of the show is pretty simple. Awesome interviews and awesome music. If you want to contact me, hit me up at metalforgeradio@gmail.com or visit the website metalforgeradio.com. And now let's get this show on the road. Hey, thank you all for tuning into this week's episode of the Metal Forge. I'm Mark Jackson and I'm your host. This week we're headed to the cemetery to listen to some awesome Indiana black thrash metal with Graveripper. You know, they formed here in Indiana in 2018. They worship some German thrash as well as some early Norwegian black metal. So I think you're really going to like these guys. They're getting ready to come out with a new EP called Radiated Remains. Super fucking awesome. So I've got Corey on the line. We're going to check in with him in here in just a minute. But last week's question on the Metal Forge. They had a great turnout on this. It was, where was the farthest you have traveled to see a band and who was it? And the touring musicians were disqualified. But yes, let me start off with a wow. This has been the most received question of the lot so far. There were so many replies. I can't necessarily say them all because there were so many of them. We'd be sitting here for like 10 minutes. So to the people who have had your replies on the show before, I'm going to kind of skip over you guys this week. Sorry. I love you guys, but sorry. I want to get some new people in here. So thank you all. Keep sending in those answers for sure. Sean Flannery from the band Rifle. They're not a touring band, but they're awesome fucking cats, as you all know in the archives. You've heard them on here before. Said Black Sabbath in Dayton. And you know what? I was at that show. That was so fucking rad because it was Black Sabbath, Pantera, and the Deftones. And it was the Irving J. Nutter Center in Dayton. It was February of 1999. It was just on the reunion tour. It was so fucking rad. So yeah, that's one of mine as well. Hellwolf of Black Knife says he drove 6 hours to see Blind Guardian. That's 6 hours is a long fucking time. If you know who Vomit 666 is, follow them on Instagram and Facebook. They're the clothing line. Flew from Florida to New York to see Rammstein. That's a fucking hell of a haul. Jason Kroll, he's back, and I do want to mention his because that's fucking rad because he actually flew from Indiana to San Francisco to see fucking Metallica on S&M 2 here a couple of years ago. That is fucking rad. And I would have loved to have went to that show. And I think he went to both nights if I'm not mistaken. And yeah, just super fucking awesome. Maxwell Jeffries from Underking says that he went from England to the Netherlands to see Ghost. I'm assuming that was the show he was talking about before. Somebody, Stumpy El Hombre, Jared, super rad dude, went to Ireland to see Amon Amarth with Children of Bodom, and he's from Kentucky, by the way. So, holy shit, he went to Ireland, another over-the-seas kind of fucking deal. I couldn't imagine actually being able to do that because I've never really left the country, so I really would like to do that. Jerry Barksdale had a 10-hour drive to see Arcturus. Super fucking rad. Wow. Chris Loeffler, if you're familiar with the band Fatal Step or Assisting Sorrow from back in the day, he actually drove from Louisville to Jersey which is about 850 or so miles, to see Iron Maiden. So, this week's question is, what band did you first get into when you started listening to music on your own? What was the band that, like, you noticed first? Yeah, shoot that to me. Obviously, I'm going to make the post online. Comment on there. Tell me who it was, and I'll get them right on the air next week. Make sure you guys are clicking the links to the bands below, the official websites, the Bandcamp pages, the YouTube pages, the Spotify playlist. Without being able to play shows, this is the only way these guys can make any kind of money. So please, click those links, show your support, and help these people out, because they are the ones that need it the most. Also, thank you to the sponsors, Mom's Music, Maxwell's House of Music. Go get your gear from those places. Check out Bert, Bobby, Brooks, Howard, and Mike at both of the stores. Click the links, momsmusic.com, maxwellshouseofmusic.com. I also want to say, anywhere you can get this podcast, you can get the Wrestling Steve Show, the It's Gonna Get Weird podcast, and the Night Demon Heavy Metal podcast. So please, after you're done listening to this show, listen to these people as well. They have great content, super fucking rad people. Check them out. Also, Better Days Records, if you're in the Louisville, Kentucky area, or you can click below. They have a Discogs page for some really cool, rare shit you can find. So, check out Better Days Records. Alright, so let's get into this. This comes from complete blinding darkness from Graveripper, and some people out there need this. This is a swift kick in the teeth. All right, Metalheads, I'm being joined on the line right now from Indianapolis, Indiana, with Corey Parks from Graveripper. Corey, how are you, man?
Doing good, man. How are you?
Dude, I am fucking fantabulous.
Right on, man. Good to hear it, Mark. Right on, dude.
Definitely. So you have just here last week debuted a new song from Radiated Remains, the new EP coming out, that was actually featured in Decibel. Is that right?
Yeah, that's correct. They premiered it through Decibel.
That's super fucking rad, dude. It's like, how do, we're all from, we're from Indiana. Both of us are.
Yeah,
and
we are.
There's been some bands over the last few years that have been fucking elevated, right? And how do you go about getting a debut from Decibel?
Really, the president, I guess the owner of our label, the guy who runs that, Sean, he's from Decibel. That was his primary job, he works for Decibel. So when he started the label, he just, knows the right people, and just, it was easy as that.
Dude, that's super fucking cool.
Yeah, man. I never imagined that it would be, I would see my band's name on a publication like that. So, yeah, easy as that.
Dude, that is awesome. And we're talking about Wise Blood Records here, right?
Yeah, Wise Blood. Yep.
Dude, that's so rad. Before we get into anything new, we're going to pick it back up here in a second. But tell everybody out in Metal Forge land about Graveripper.
Yeah, man, definitely. So, Graveripper is my band. We play primarily thrash metal with black metal influence, but we're kind of different from your typical black thrash that you think of right now. There's a big movement, I think, going on in metal where you got the black thrash punk thing, where kind of spearheaded by Athanar and Midnight. You've got bands like Bewitcher and Black Knife from Kentucky and Wraith from Indiana also, who are doing the black thrash thing.
Absolutely. They've all been on here.
yeah, man. I was going through your list here, and they're all there. I think the difference with that style of black thrash versus what our black thrash is, ours falls. We don't do as much of the punk influence. I joke around saying that sometimes our music isn't as much fun and it's more serious, but that's really what it is. So I think our thrash metal is more classic thrash, like a lot of influence from the early stuff, a little bit from the States, but a lot of it was from like the early South American stuff, like First View, Sepultura record, the early Kreator stuff, the early Sodom stuff. But I've always been a huge fan of the early Norwegian black metal vibe and that atmosphere. So I kind of do a crisscross of playing thrash metal riffs, but try to seamlessly turn it into something to where there'll be like big minor black metal chords and things like that in there also. So it's black thrash, but don't immediately think like Toxic Holocaust or Midnight.
Definitely.
It's kind of our own unique blend of it. So
which I think that's how, everybody talks about getting quote noticed. And I think that's how it happens where, you have elements from this and that and this over here and you amalgamate them and just bam, there it is.
Yeah. For sure. And yeah, just to try to do something different at the same time. Yeah, absolutely.
For sure. Being a front runner of a genre like the Midnights.
Yeah, exactly, man.
For sure, dude. That's super fucking awesome. So when you guys get together to write, how does that work for you guys? I mean, I assume you're all from the Indiana area here. Yeah, we're all from Indiana. So typically I will come up with most of the song structure and the riffs and I pretty much piece everything together on my own. I'll have a song complete. I'll program drums to it, and then I'll send it out to the guys and be like, hey, here's like 80% of what I think this song should be like. What do you think? And sometimes I'll send maybe 2 or 3 versions of that song out and be like, well, here's the first version. If we wanted to do something with more of like, if we wanted to keep the ending thrashier, here's one with a thrash ending. If we wanted to go the more atmospheric black route, here's a version with that. The guys will listen to it and kind of like, oh, maybe I like this one a little bit more. Sometimes the guy we've got playing guitar now, who just joined the band recently also, Keegan, he'll kind of like take my stuff and then rewrite parts of it and be like, well, what do you think about this version? So it's pretty collaborative like that. That's only been kind of a recent development. Really, to be honest, up until this point, I've really mostly written everything. And then, the guys put their own frills on it with all that. Like Chris will go through and do his own like little bass fills and bass parts, which are always kick ass and it's stuff I never would have thought of. And, just Keegan will like play a guitar part slightly different than me. So we're kind of like, we're playing the same riff, but we're playing it differently, I guess. And then Jacob puts, all this awesome flair and drum fills on it stuff. So that's pretty much I think that's the songwriting process. Definitely.
For us.
That's actually super cool because I've never actually heard of anyone doing it. Like I always hear about, you get in the room and you jam it out, or one person writes everything, but I can't
do that.
Really?
I've never been that guy. I always I have to come to like a practice space or something with a song or a session. I don't know. I don't know if it's like a pickiness of my own or like a critique of myself or something, but it's just like, I can't just sit there and mold something on the spot. I have to come in with something where I'm like, okay, this is good. Maybe I've refined it already a little bit. I like this, but let's go with this.
Definitely. Well, what I was going to say was like multiple part thing where you're talking about like multiple endings.
Oh yeah.
That sounds super fucking cool. That's like the end of Wayne's World. Well, let's try the Scooby-Doo ending.
Yeah. Doo-doo-doo, doo-doo-doo. Yeah. Totally. I just made that noise.
I know you did. And that's super cool to me because it's just like I've always been the one in my writing where we either come with an idea or in certain renditions of my band, we've been able to just sit there and jam shit out, or one person will play a riff and I'm like, hey, that's pretty fucking cool. Let's expand on that. But I've never been able to do something like that. And that's a good idea. I think I'm going to take that idea from you. It's like, all right, guys.
Copywritten.
Right. No, I'm kidding.
You owe me royalties.
Hey. Anything that would help, right? And, and you mentioned Keegan, the other guitar player, and I do want to give him a shout out here because looking on the Metal Archives, it shows another band he is in called Cardboard Dick Smash.
Yes, he is.
I have never heard of them, but I am already a fan.
You have to listen to them. It is awesome.
It seems so fucking cool. It says,
read. Yeah. Do you have it pulled up there?
Yes.
Yeah. Read some of these. Read some of that. Yeah. It's
Dong Mangler, Scum Shark, Fully Torqued, Christmas Warriors. That sounds like fun for the whole fucking family.
It is. That was their whole point. Was they wanted to release a Cardboard Dick Smash album that like even little Timmy could listen to. Like they wanted the whole like grandma can enjoy this one, the little kids can enjoy this one. So everybody got Cardboard Dick Smash for Christmas that year.
Good Lord.
I don't know.
There's 20 songs on their latest album. Holy shit.
Garbage? Is that it?
Yes.
Yeah, for sure. Yep. Yeah, man.
So yeah, shout out to him, and we're gonna feature some of them here soon, I'm sure.
Right
Just
on.
because of the name.
You would, they are a riot.
Definitely. Complete Blinding Darkness came out, and just as COVID fucking started.
Yeah.
How did that affect you guys?
It was kind of weird. Like we just released it, and we had some shows lined up. We didn't have a lot going on. So really, we didn't have any like major out of town shows booked or anything. So it didn't do too much to it. It didn't really hit us that much in a negative way, I guess.
Definitely. Well, I mean, it looks like you just released it on a digital format. So with Bandcamp, I'm sure that has helped a little bit because at least you were able to have something to release. Yeah,
tremendously. The Bandcamp thing did help a lot. When we released Complete Blinding Darkness, we had just changed our band name from Death Ensemble to Graveripper. I didn't really care for the name Death Ensemble anymore. When I came up with it, I just did the old go through some lyrics and just maybe find something I like a lot. And I'm like, War Ensembles, one of my favorite Slayer songs. So I listened to that. I was like, oh, Death Ensembles, right at the beginning there, Propaganda, Death Ensemble. I was like, what, I'll go with that. And then the more I just heard it, and I was just like, man, that sucks in my ears. So we came up with the new name, and the whole point of like getting Complete Blinding Darkness out there was really just to kind of show the rebranding of the new name. And I was like, well, let's just throw some songs out there we've been working on just to show we're Graveripper now.
For sure.
So, yeah.
With that, it's the stark black and white album cover, as many forebearers have done in the day of the first demos and everything like that. Who actually did the artwork? Because the skull and the raven and the graveyard and all the other stuff on there, who did that? Yeah, man, his name's Nate Vaught. He's a local artist here in Indianapolis. He has a little art studio. He goes by Brainball Illustration. Yeah, he did it. Yeah, man. Like I said, I think a great cover means the world to an album. It's where I've always been an advocate for the show is part of the band, where you've got 50% music, 50% live show. The album covers fall into that as well. And you've got to have great visuals to match what you're doing.
Yep.
Which you've done again with Radiated Remains.
Thanks, man. I fucking love that album cover.
It's very different, but not so much different. It's, you've got the single image and the logos and just this, it's almost reminds me of like Municipal Waste in a way.
Sure. Yeah.
With
I can see that.
The pencil drawing and everything of just like the guy in the suit.
Yep.
Was that the same artist?
No. Information I have on him is it was just like in a Facebook thrash metal artwork page I'm part of, and he made a few posts in there. It's a dude out of like I want to say like Thailand.
Oh wow.
Yeah, and I hit him up. I was like, "This is bitchin'." I'm like, "How much for this?" And he's like, "Yeah, here you go, man. Just buy it." And I'm like, "All right, take it down. I don't want anybody else to see this because like this is gonna be our artwork." And he drawn the dude. So I was just like, I'm gonna slap this on yellow and put the Graveripper above it stuff. So yeah,
dude, that is a color though that like nobody does like stuff like that is yellow.
Dude, it's the color of thrash metal. Like yellow is thrash. It's like it's nuclear. Like it's that like yellow is thrash, man.
Yeah, I agree.
It's awesome.
I mean, more often than not, you see blacks and reds, but like this stark, bright in your face yellow is fucking rad. But yes, you talked about you're like how much for the art, and you're like, all right, take it down. I don't want anybody else to see it because yes, I've often wondered how many artists out there like Frank Frazetta's and Boris Vallejos and how many of these people have actually had like these huge artists do work for them and then it get used for something else down the line, like a movie cover.
Yep. Oh, I'm sure, man.
Absolutely. All right, Corey, hang out for a second. I got to play some words from the sponsors, and we're coming right back.
Hey, it's Mark Maxwell at Maxwell's House of Music. Listen, all this stuff is now available to purchase on our website. Check it out at maxwellshouseofmusic.com.
We carry all the top brands, like Fender.
We got Gibson.
We also have basses.
We've got ukuleles.
We got drums.
We've got sound gear.
We've got keyboards.
Hi, this is Frank Green from the It's Gonna Get Weird podcast, a podcast I host with Scott Clark. You're gonna get everything you need on the podcast. Lots of laughs, lots of music, some sports, and maybe some inappropriate shit. Usually that's Scott's forte. Check it out. It's going to get weird. Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Play, and everywhere you get your podcasts online. It's going to get weird.
I tell you what, if you don't get out of here and make it fast, I'm going to put my foot right in your ass. Oh! Hey!
So what inspires your music?
What inspires our music? Yeah, just probably just other bands and playing live and just wanting to just play, just playing the riffs that I want to play. Or like sometimes I'll listen to a song. It can be from like any band. Of course, it's like metal or whatever. And sometimes I'll just like pick the guitar up. And you can listen to a song and a song will give you a certain feeling. So sometimes I try to take my favorite riffs and my favorite songs and I try to sit down with that attitude or feeling fresh in my mind. And I kind of like try to write something on that same wavelength. Like I'm not trying to figure out how the riff goes and learn the riff. I'm trying to replicate that energy of what makes me feel good when I listen to my favorite records. I want to make songs that give me that feeling of when I listen to my favorite records. I think it's like what Rick Rubin said when he when he listens to like albums, when he's like producing, he's like, if like he loves, I guess he loves like AC/DC's Back in Black. That was like the album that just like killed him when he was a kid and was like, this is it. This is my favorite record ever. So when he goes in to produce, if the songs don't give him that Back in Black feeling, he's like, nah, this is no good.
That's absolutely right. I've read interviews with Rick Rubin where, and bands he has produced, and because he's really produced some heavy hitters. And
oh yeah, man.
Heavy hitters in a degree of different musical styles, not
so
just talking like
dude.
Slayer and the metal bands that he has produced, but
it was
like
hip hop originally. He started
the
Def Jam was a rap label.
Yes. And then not only doing that, but doing people like Johnny Cash. And who had a complete resurgence in his life in the 90s with the American recordings.
Yep.
And the Tom Petty Wildflowers album.
Was that Rick Rubin too? I didn't know that.
Yes, that was Rick Rubin as well. And it's just so mind-blowing. Like,
it's fucking awesome, man.
I don't get it. And
yeah, totally.
And I also think too that it's where the albums were recorded, which was, Sound City in Van Nuys or whatever it was. The musicians that he was working with would just be like, he would come in sporadically. They would be there in the studio working with the engineers and stuff, but he wouldn't show up every day. And and then when he would show up, he would be like, well, I mean, it's okay. It's not, I'm just going to throw the name out here. It's not the level of Metallica I think it should be, because that was actually a quote that James had said about him. That's
is that really? Is that right?
And yes, absolutely.
Yeah, I know he's got that vibe to him. I can't think of the word right now. He's got that, he's known for not being there all the time.
Right.
And just coming in and like listening to what you have, maybe taking, like a half hour listening to what you have. Like, all right, this sucks. This is okay. This is good. This is okay. Throw those sucks away. Keep the good. That's it.
Oh, absolutely. And, and like I said, he's multi-genre, different things as well. He was actually a producer of wrestling for a while too.
Oh, I did not know that either.
Yeah, Smoky Mountain Wrestling in the mid-90s. He was the bankroll for. So it's super fucking funny.
That is ridiculous. I'm learning all kinds of Rick Rubin facts. This is amazing. I think one of the best parts also about that whole Rubin not being there and that whole vibe is like it forces the artist to create the art themselves instead of having a producer sit there and saying, okay, well, this is a cool riff. Next, why don't you go into a slower part? And then the artist will be like, okay, so now I'm going to write a slower part, because then you're not writing. The artist who got signed to the label or got the attention is no longer creating the music.
Oh, absolutely.
It's the producer who's making it. So by the producer not being there and nobody being there to hold the band's hand, the band is forced to write the music themselves.
For
you know what I'm saying?
Oh,
so
yes, absolutely.
Yeah, that's awesome to me.
Well, and
it's like, if you can't write music on your own, then what the fuck are you doing?
I understand that not everything can be a hit, and I understand too that the law of diminishing returns or something like that with music, that more often than not, you're not going to write a hit, but you can write something that is popular. And I think that's the reason why we resort to having to use producers.
Right.
Which a lot of them are musicians, but there's some of them that aren't really musicians, that they just have an ear for something. Let's talk about some performing here for a minute. With you not getting to get any of the shows in from last year because of COVID and everything, I'm not too familiar with your previous performance career, but if you could have played any concert from history, what would it be?
I go back to like when Beethoven's playing live and just like start playing like fucking riffs and just really gross everybody out and just make sure everybody would have such a bad time. I would just walk in there, Beethoven's like doing his thing, and I just like bring my amp and my half stack and just ruin it for everybody. Just kidding.
That would be awesome though. Nobody's ever said that.
If I could play any show, I would play the Enchantment Under the Sea dance from Back to the Future. And I would totally destroy Marty McFly when it comes to an Eddie Van Halen solo impression. Just kidding. I wouldn't play that show either.
I was about to say,
I don't know, man.
Dude, you've railed off two fucking awesome ideas here.
Yeah, I try not to take it too seriously. Let's see. I don't know, man. Any concert of all time. I don't know, man. We've got some shows booked up ourselves that I can't really talk about yet that I'm really excited for. So yeah, I don't know, man. So I'm excited. I'm excited to play those. I like doing my own thing and kind of focusing on the future shows instead of like looking at the past and seeing what I could do. But yeah, man,
definitely.
Shit.
No, it's all good.
I would love to have a time machine and just go back and go to old shows and just see them. You know what I'm saying?
Cool.
That's what I would love. Like, I can't tell you how many times I've just like sat and drank beer and watched YouTube videos of like these horrible VHS copies of like Slayer in like 83 and 84. And it's oh my gosh, this is amazing. Just stuff like that. Or I've got a Merciful Fate DVD that came with like their 30th anniversary or 35th anniversary or something to be released from Roadrunner Records. And I've watched that a billion times too. So yeah.
Absolutely. I have a black metal from Venom, like
nice.
A deluxe pack. It's the tour where they took Metallica with them.
Oh yeah. And yep. I've seen those posters like a billion times. That's a cool looking poster. Yep.
Where it was like Metallica's first European tour and it was like Raven, Venom, and Metallica or some shit like that.
Yep.
And they released a DVD of one of the shows with a black metal like expanded edition. It's like, it's nasty as shit looking, but it's so fucking like so energetic. You know, like
amazing.
Mantis is like fucking all over the place.
Yeah.
Kronos is all over the fucking place.
I fucking love Kronos, dude. The dude's wild.
He is. And I really don't know if there's anybody else who's been so wild in metal other than him. So cool. But anyways, we're going to take a real quick break. We're going to come back. We're going to get into some general questions with Corey Parks from Graveripper.
Welcome to the night. You think you know Night Demon? Then the Night Demon Heavy Metal Podcast is for you. Step into the darkness as we peel back the curtain to give you an unprecedented, all-access look into the mind and the heart of the demon. We're talking band history, song analysis, studio anecdotes, stories from the road. It's everything a diehard Night Demon fan could want and more. This is the only place to learn the inside scoop, the deep dive trivia, the untold tales from the band members themselves and those closest to the Night Demon story. Need more? The sacred Night Demon Crypt will be pried open to reveal demo recordings that have never before seen the light of day, all with in-depth commentary by the band and the people who were there for the writing and recording process. This is a gold mine, a treasure trove of all things Night Demon. Head over to nightdemon.net or wherever you listen to podcasts.
All right, Corey, this is the part of the show where I like to shift gears and go into some general profile questions about you as a person, because deep down, I like to know what make people tick. These can be about anything in life, from music, movies, sports, anything. And if you're ready, here we go.
Right on, man.
What was the worst advice you've ever received?
The worst advice I've ever received? The worst advice I've ever received. Now, are we talking about like generally or like music?
Life. Yeah.
I don't know, man. That's an interesting question. You're really picking my brain there. The worst advice I ever received. You have to go to college. I didn't like to. I have to go, but like, I do remember regretting buying a fucking light system for an old band I was in. Like, somebody was like, "You, if you want your band to be good at the scene and shit." I'm super young. I'm really naive. I'm like maybe 20, maybe 21 years old, you know, and I'm just really out looking to party. And I was in an old band, and I really wanted that band to do something. And somebody was like, "If you want your band to be different live than all the other bands, you need to have a fucking killer light set, a light show." So like, I was in Lafayette at the time, and I drive down to Indianapolis, and I just taken out a credit card, and I maxed that credit card out buying a light system at Sam Ash. And then like, just the nature of us being a party band and just being young and reckless, that fucking thing got so destroyed, and it took me like forever to pay that credit card off, because I was just like not in the place to be making financial decisions like that.
Definitely.
So yeah, that was, for some reason, that comes to mind. So and for the record, Graveripper does not have a light system.
For sure. Yeah, you do have to set yourself aside from everybody else, but you got to do it
your way.
Small steps.
Yeah. Yep. Totally, dude.
For sure. What do you invest too much time into?
Oh man, just like probably lounging and daydreaming and just like sitting around.
Right on. Hey, hey, I am all for that.
Yeah, I mean, I enjoy doing it though, but you know, so I mean, if you're enjoying the time, if you're enjoying what you're doing, then is it wasted time? But yeah, I definitely spend a lot of time just like.
I think that's similar to the saying, if you love what you do, you'll never work a day in your life.
Yeah.
Something like that. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Or yeah, just fucking doom scrolling sometimes, just getting locked into Reddit and just scrolling.
Oh yeah, the rabbit hole.
Dumb shit. Oh, so far down the rabbit hole.
Metalheads usually collect a lot of shit.
Yep.
I've got a friend who's been on the show. I'm not going to mention his name. He collects a lot of stuff, and he posts on Instagram all the time. So, what do you collect?
I kind of collect. I've got a decent collection of like video game stuff, and particularly like Hideo Kojima stuff. Ooh. The guy who did like Metal Gear Solid and all that shit, and like the heyday of Konami, like the old like Silent Hill and Metal Gear Solid and Castlevania days, like the mid-90s. So like I've got a bookshelf in my room with like all my collector's edition consoles and Metal Gear stuff and Metal Gear action figures and stuff. So other than that, I don't collect too much stuff anymore. I used to have a pretty stacked CD collection, but I have no clue where any of that shit just ended up. So yeah, probably just video game stuff, things like that.
Hell yeah. Now, isn't there something about certain games are not considered canon?
Oh yeah, like with Metal Gear Solid, I can get into this like you wouldn't believe. Like with Metal Gear Solid, there are a bunch of like offshoots and like other ones that aren't like the specific canon games. There's so many of those.
Definitely. See, I thought that's how that was.
Yeah, like all the numeric games are canon and Peace Walker.
Right on.
So,
right
like
on.
I said, and the two MSX games.
Here's gonna be the letdown moment of the show for the people who are Metal Gear fans.
Drum roll.
I've only ever played the NES version.
Oh man, it's all good.
Yeah,
that one's hard.
It is.
You know that is not an actual Hideo Kojima is not associated with that game at all.
Is he not?
So he made the original Metal Gear game was released for the MSX home computer in Japan, right. And then in America they wanted their version of it also because it was a huge hit in Japan. So they did it in America, but instead of just translating it over, they rebuilt the game from the ground up using the same story beats and the same like general concept, but it's not the same game really at all. So there are two different games. He's not associated with the first one, and then they came out with a second one in the United States called Snake's Revenge, which is it's not canon. It's pretty funny. I've never actually beat it, but I've watched like long plays of it. So what ended up happening was there was a dude in Japan who saw that they came out with a shitty version of Metal Gear and then the shitty sequel, and he went to Hideo Kojima and he's like, dude, you have to make a real sequel to Metal Gear on the MSX. You have to make a real one. Like the American version is shit. Make a real sequel. So he did, and that's kind of what got the ball rolling on everything else.
That's
right. So had it not been for those American screw ups, you wouldn't have the huge
market
Metal Gear
is out there today for sure.
Yep, that's right. Yeah. So
hell yeah.
Yeah, man.
What is something you've always wanted to do but you're not coordinated enough to do?
That I'm not coordinated enough to do. I don't think I can do a cartwheel. My mom can do cartwheels, but I don't think I can.
Nice.
I like cartwheels. I can do somersaults, I think. So the coordination kind of sucks, dude. That's why I play music and I don't play sports. That's why I'm not on the basketball podcast right now.
Definitely. What's your getaway from music?
Dude, I don't know, man. I really like music. Music kind of is the getaway.
I get that.
But I mean, sometimes like, I guess it, just probably video games and hanging out with people, and just watching movies or whatever.
So with doing all those, you're not actually like listening for the soundtrack to see what's going on?
Not always. But usually if something will jump out at me and I'll notice it if I like it, and then I'll start paying attention to it.
Definitely. What band do you like that none of your friends like?
I don't know if people don't necessarily like them, but I fucking love Guns N' Roses. And I know that's like, I don't know if it's like, I know a lot of people say they're overrated or whatever, but man, I don't know. I'm the biggest fucking Guns N' Roses fan.
It's not a Lafayette thing, is it?
No, it is not. Good point, but no, it's not.
Good.
But I mean, I have definitely annoyed the shit out of some of my friends just playing fucking Use Your Illusions.
I think those are two underrated albums.
So underrated, man.
But
very bloated, but very underrated.
Yes, exactly my point. I've always made this comparison. In 1991, they came out with those two albums, and Metallica came out with the Black Album.
Yep. Crazy time.
In 1996 and 7, Metallica released their versions of Use Your Illusions 1 and 2.
Oh man,
they are very bloated albums, and they could both be concised into one album.
They totally could. You're absolutely right. Yeah, I've never thought about it like that.
Yep. Who do you wish you never saw live?
Who do I wish I never saw live?
Yeah, just seeing them live ruined it for you.
I don't know, man. That's a good question too. Let me think here. Dude, I don't know. I've had pretty good experiences with all my concerts. I've seen some good bands. I've seen a lot of bands I've always wanted to see. I'll kind of answer it like this. I wish I would have saw Metallica. I mean, I play thrash, so I'm gonna go see Metallica. But I didn't get to see them. The first time I saw them was on this most recent tour.
Really?
The Hardwired tour.
Nice.
Right?
Was it there at was it at Lucas Oil?
Yeah, it was at Banker's Life.
Banker's Life.
So yeah. I saw it at Banker's Life, and I saw it at Chicago. I saw the Chicago show also when they did the Soldier Field.
Yeah.
With both those. Man, the Soldier Field one we had shitty seats, but anyway, that's beside the point. But I wish I would have seen Metallica earlier. Like, I wish I would have seen them as soon as I could have. Because
for sure.
That, I grew up in high school watching like Cunning Stunts and stuff. And that's like the Load Reload era.
Yes.
And I think that's like right before Reload was going to come out because they played Fuel as a new song on that. And
absolutely.
so, I mean, they still had that ferociousness. Hetfield's like still up there cussing and shit. And like, seeing them now it's kind of like it's just like they're older and stuff, and it's like there's not a lot of like I don't know the interaction is still there, but it just wasn't like it wasn't that Cunning Stunt show I had in my head. So I was totally fucking psyched and awesome and happy to see Metallica, and they put on a great fucking show, but it was just like man,
Oh, absolutely. I love that show for a couple of reasons. I was about to say it because I've always thought of this, and I'll explain what I was about to say in a minute. The Cunning Stunts show, because they start the show with the lights up.
Yeah,
and then halfway through the song, bam, the lights go down.
I love that.
It's super cool, and of course, they've reiterated the stage breaking down ever since Justice. It's broken down at different points in the career. Like, it did it on Justice, it did it on the Cunning Stunts tour, and it did it here, like, when they were doing some other shows, when they were promoting the Through the Never movie.
Yeah, okay.
And it's always been a super rad idea that it's like very little stage light at the end of the show, and it's just like them jamming the fuck out on really old shit, which is super fucking cool.
Oh, absolutely.
But at least you got to see that was the first experience you had with them, which is I went to 2 of those shows
on this most recent tour.
Yes, I went to Busch Stadium in St. Louis.
Okay.
And then I went to the Louisville show, and it had been 14 years since they played in Louisville.
Damn.
And that was the first show that I saw them on, which was Saint Anger.
Okay.
So
yeah, honestly, that would have probably been the earliest I could saw them too.
Yeah, it
the
could have
Summer
been
Sanitarium
worse.
show.
Oh this was after the Summer Sanitarium stuff.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, this was 2004. I've always thought, to explain the moment ago thing, I've always thought they created that title for Cunning Stunts to where you're
cunts.
Exactly.
Yeah, dude,
I almost slipped up and said it.
Yep, I've always thought that. Yeah.
Yep.
Totally. But that has to be it then.
Oh, I think so, because it's just like it's one of the what are those words where most people get them and have like a dyslexic moment. I think it's like that.
Yep, totally agree.
For sure.
I'm with you on that one.
If you followed your dreams as a child, what would you be doing right now?
This.
Being on the metal. No.
I always wanted to play. I always wanted to be on this podcast, dude.
Yes.
So I'm here. No, man, I've always wanted to play music. Like, there are pictures of me when I'm a little kid. Like, I'm from Indiana, so like I grew up like everybody, like my dad and stuff listened to like country western and shit.
Yep.
And my mom did too, and a lot of people in my family like country western. So like when I was a kid, like there are pictures of me dressed up like fucking Garth Brooks, as embarrassing it is to admit that shit. Like, that's who I wanted to be. He was just an awesome performer. There, he was like on stage in front of so many people with a guitar, and I was just, as a kid, that mesmerized me. I was like, that's what I want to do. So like every Christmas and every birthday, I would get like the little guitar and microphone sets, and that's all I wanted to do. I just wanted to do that. Yeah, man, this is kind of it. So
you should use one of those for your album picture.
A Garth Brooks little kid picture, that'd be a riot.
That would be hilarious.
Yeah, man, for sure. I'm gonna take that Radiated, the new one we just did with all the yellow, and I'm just gonna put Garth Brooks on it instead and see if anybody notices.
Like a zombie Garth
Brooks. Oh my god, zombie Garth Brooks. That's amazing.
Jesus. All right, take a minute, relax, get yourself a nice cold beverage. We're going to come back. We're going to talk some more with Corey Parks from Graveripper from Indianapolis, Indiana. Girl.
Hey guys, Wrestling Steve of the Wrestling Steve Show here. So if you're currently listening to the Metal Forge with Mark Jackson, then you understand that Mark Jackson has a pretty discerning taste when it comes to music as a whole. You'll also understand that he has a discerning taste for professional wrestling, just like me. My show is called the Wrestling Steve Show. I talk about modern and classic pro wrestling in a completely unbiased, unfiltered way. Be sure to check me out on all available podcasting platforms. That is the Wrestling Steve Show. and I am the host, Wrestling Steve. Just remember, like Confucius said, man who goes through turnstile in Thailand is going to Bangkok. Pro wrestling.
Hey, are y'all in a band? Do you need merch for shows? By now I'm sure you've seen all the Metal Forge patches that are available, along with many more. Well, the printer I use for those is UKR Patcher. Check them out on Facebook and Etsy. They do awesome custom work and for extremely affordable prices for any band budget. Check them out, UKR Patcher on Facebook and Etsy. What food can you not stand?
Fucking vinegar. I hate vinegar. Anything vinegar, like flavored or smells like vinegar, don't want it.
So no salt and vinegar chips for you?
Fuck no.
And you wouldn't be drinking this stuff anyways, I don't think.
So anything like apple cider vinegar, vinaigrettes. I can do hot sauces because usually the hot sauces like are vinegar based. But I fucking love hot sauce. You got me going on this, man. You got me ticking on this one. Dude, I've come home and my wife has been like reducing balsamic vinegar, and she knows I hate that shit, and I just can't stand it. I'm like, oh, I had to go outside and like plug my nose.
Oh.
And I'm like yelling at her like, I'm gonna divorce you if you fucking if you cook vinegar in this house again.
Dude,
I'm not
that's crazy.
But I do not like vinegar.
So you never made like the volcano?
No, I never did.
With the vinegar and baking soda.
No, I never did that. And I would do Easter egg, like do the Easter egg things, because that's in vinegar, right? When you're a little kid, you like color Easter eggs.
I think so, yeah.
I think that's vinegar, and I definitely remember being turned off by that looking back as a kid. I'm like, why does it smell so bad?
Yeah, for sure.
So yeah, it's just the smell and the taste. I just don't do it.
Understandable.
I like citrus sour. I like lemons and limes. Love that kind of sour, but I do not like it.
Definitely. Rapid fire on this one.
Go for it.
Sabbath or Zeppelin?
Oh man, Sabbath.
Yeah, absolutely. Another rapid fire. Denim or leather?
Leather.
Yeah. What was your favorite TV show growing up?
My favorite TV show growing up? Man, I had a lot. Jeez. My favorite, fucking Pokemon anime. I watched a lot of that. I got into Twilight Zone when I got a little older. Jackass. That kind of stuff, you know?
Nice.
Yeah, man.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
What is your biggest pet peeve?
My biggest pet peeve? I don't know. What are common pet peeves? I know I can get annoyed by some stuff, but I try not to. I don't know, man. I can't think of anything.
Right on. Hey.
Oh, it's horrible.
No, it's not. I mean, hey.
I'm pretty chill with most stuff.
Definitely.
I like to think. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. Pass on that one.
Definitely. This one's a big one.
Oh, shit.
And unlike no, you can't pass on this one. This one's a big one. And unlike the who do you wish you never saw live about it not throwing shade, you could throw shade from this one, I'm sure. What is your most unpopular music opinion?
My most unpopular music opinion? I'm like racking my brain here. So I'm going through like decades and thinking of all the bands and stuff.
This question goes out to the people out there who are like the diehard, it should have been Lars people.
Oh, fuck that.
Right?
Why would you wish anybody would die? Anyway, my most controversial maybe music opinion that would be like, I used to think like on the Metallica thing, I used to think Saint Anger wasn't that bad, but then I listened to it again lately. I'm like, okay, I can see why people really didn't like this. You know what I'm saying? Because I just fucking used to love Metallica, and then I was like, Saint Anger's good. And then I like didn't listen to it for like 10 years. I listened to it again. I'm like, damn, this kind of fucking sucks.
I'm gonna have to get a sign. It has been 0 days or 0 episodes since we've mentioned Saint Anger.
Yep. I know there are a lot of people in the group who really fucking worship Dio era Sabbath. I don't think it's that great. I know people like love Dehumanizer, and it's a good album, but it's not like, oh my god, amazing.
You know what? I'm gonna agree with you on this.
Yeah.
And on two conditions, I'll agree with you on this. First, I think Mob Rules is a better album than Heaven and Hell and Dehumanizer.
Okay.
Second is I understand Dio. And I've said this before. So anybody who doesn't think that I've said this before, look in the archives. It's in there. Is had Dio not played ridiculous personal politics, I think I would have respected him more. Recommended read for any Metal Forge listener out there is read Iron Man, the Tony Iommi autobiography. Super fucking rad read.
I'll have to pick that up.
Yeah.
I guess, yeah.
Go ahead.
controversial thing. I'm sitting here racking my brain on it still. I don't think Anthrax should have been part of the Big Four shows.
Wow.
I don't know if that's that controversial, but I don't think Anthrax should have been part of it.
Who would be, though?
Just none of them. Just Metallica, Megadeth, Slayer. Just do the big three.
The big three.
That's all it is. I mean, let's not beat around the bush. You know what I'm saying. Here's what they should have done. They should have fucking toured it, right? They should have done a stage B and stage A thing like Ozfest does or did, whatever. I don't know. So stage A, you have the big commercial sellers, your Megadeth, Slayer, Metallica, right? But then on stage B, do all the fucking thrash bands that are really that should be getting the attention for playing thrash, that are playing like the real thrash. Because like when you listen to Metallica, Megadeth, and Slayer, it's so funny that those bands are considered thrash because those three bands, they are thrash, but they're so fucking different from each other.
Right.
So they're almost not even like, so it's almost like, what even is this culmination of this thrash sound we're looking for? Well, there's where your stage B is. That's where your main stage should be. And that's where you should have Overkill, Testament, Exodus, Anthrax, fucking throw Forbidden on there. That's where your thrash metal. Yeah, Death Angel, all that shit, man. All that, like that second wave of Bay Area thrash that happened. Put that there. That's what it should have been.
Right on. I could kind of buy that. I mean, when it comes down to it, Anthrax, they were doing smaller places, 1,500 to 2,000 seat places. They weren't doing arenas. But then again, the last time I saw Slayer, I mean, they had about 10,000 seats in a venue, but they only did like 5.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And that was here in Louisville in the Yum Center. So it's kind of a mixed bag. I think it also depends.
What? Maybe they're not that close. Go ahead. Sorry, I interrupted.
Oh, no, you're fine. So, no, I mean, I get it, but it's kind of like, I think it's more along the lines of you got to market it to where you think it would sell. Yeah, and unfortunately, unfortunately for the Slayers and Megadeths even, and Anthrax, Metallica could play Yankee Stadium and still sell it out. Yeah,
it's independent to the other acts. Yeah,
right.
I mean, you're the biggest fucking metal band in the world. I don't know if this is controversial. I think that the older Burzum albums are more important than like some of any of the older black metal albums, like the first wave of Norwegian stuff. Those old Burzum albums just fucking kill me. They're so good.
I think that's pretty. I think that's first wave is where it's at. I think that's where. I think that's a pretty common thing. Got a couple more for you.
Yeah.
What album is an absolute playthrough if you can pick one?
Oh man, Venom's black metal. Venom's black metal, Midnight Satanic. Man, go with Satanic Royalty and black metal.
Right on.
Put them both in there.
Yeah, I mean they culminate. They build and build and build and absolutely.
Yeah,
I get you.
They're just straight bangers, no fucking around. Let's get to the point. Go. I like it. So.
Well, somebody said all thrash and no trash.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, yeah, man.
All right. As always, links will be listed below so you can get all of your Graveripper news and information. Check out their Bandcamp page. Check out their Instagram and Facebook pages. Give these guys a like, a share, and a follow. Go buy the new album. Sorry, the new EP. Let's fix that. They've got some really limited numbers of cassettes and CDs, and hopefully by the time this broadcasts, you might be able to get one.
There you go.
So if you click that link, do you have any shout outs you want to give to anybody, Corey, before we go today?
Shout out to everybody in the band for helping me get this done. Carl for mixing it, Joel for mastering it, dudes like you, Mark, for having us on the podcast and giving us a platform to show this stuff off. All the siblings and family members and spouses who have dealt with us playing metal this whole time. So yeah, that's pretty much it, man.
Hell yeah. And thanks to everybody, right? Yeah.
Yeah, just everybody out there, man. Everybody listening. Thanks to you, the listener at home.
Yeah, definitely. So, final question of the night.
Let's do this.
What album changed your life?
What album changed my life? Ride the Lightning.
Definitely,
man. I remember being I was a little kid still in the country thing, and my uncle was a metalhead, right? And he would let me rate his CDs, and I remember he had all the album covers and everything. There was a lot of hair metal and stuff in there, which I thought was cool too, but nothing had sonically impressed me yet. And I remember getting to Injustice for All and putting that in my little headset and starting to listen to it. And I think the intro it's blackened. It's got that quiet part for a little while where it's the backwards guitars.
Yeah.
I was an impatient kid. I was like, this is taking too long. So then I go to track 2, and it's Injustice for All. And it's got the acoustic acoustic intro, and I'm like, oh, this is like boring acoustic crap. I don't want to listen to this album, so I took it out. And I was like, I don't want to hear any more of this. And I was like, well, here's another Metallica one. It's got this, it's blue. It's got the electric chair and this lightning. This looks crazy. So I put it in. The first thing's Fire with Fire, and it's got that acoustic intro again. And I remember being a kid and be like, oh, more of this shit. Like, no, like, I don't want this in here. And so I go to track 2, and that's Ride the Lightning. And it's, it's got the guitar harmonies there at the beginning. And I just remember being
ones.
Yeah, the dun-dun, and I just remember being like so overwhelmed. Like, what is in my ears right now? And I was like, I think I was 7 or 8 years old, and I left my uncle's house, and I was like, Mom, we have to fucking go to Target. I have to buy this album called Red Lighting. I have to have this.
Dude, that's fucking badass. And we've talked about them quite a bit on the show today. I'm going to go out and say this with that album and everything, with Ride the Lightning. It has been such a cool and weird thing to watch their career. And when you would see them do like that song in the 90s, like the early 90s, they would kind of be out of key from each other. James and Kirk would be. But as they have gotten older, their playing together has gotten so much better to where they're almost flawless now with like just like the harmony parts.
Oh yeah.
And it's so fucking cool to just watch even a band that's them, like Metallica. It's like, it's Metallica. To watch them grow and adapt and become tighter, as it were.
Yeah, man. Well, you spend so much time with somebody,
Yeah. I'm sure they've spent more time with each other than they have their significant others.
Oh, I would not challenge that at all. I completely agree.
Oh, my gosh. Dude, Corey, thank you so much for coming on the show this week. It has been super fucking rad, and it's been awesome. I've had such a good time today, and we're going to debut this new song today here on the Metal Forge also, right?
Yes, sir.
So, tell everybody out there what we're about to listen to.
So, we're going to be playing Adam's Divide. It's the first single we released off of Radiated Remains. It's pretty mean. It's a thrasher. It's a fucking banger.
All right, you heard him. Here it is from Radiated Remains from Graveripper. This is Adam's Divide. Hey, thank you all for tuning into this week's episode of The Metal Forge. I want to take a minute to remind you guys about the Patreon page. Over on the Patreon page, we have the tiers set up to support the production of the show. We feature the Down and Dirty, which is just $1. There's nothing special for that one, it just sends me a thank you because every dollar helps. Then there's the Double Down and Dirty. Much akin to the Down and Dirty tier, everything helps produce the show in the end. You make your presence known, and I appreciate that more than you realize. Thank you for being a dedicated friend and supporter to the Metal Forge. By selecting that tier, you will receive some cool Metal Forge stickers in your mailbox. Now, we're really going to start pounding the metal madness with the Apprentice Metalhead for just $5 a month. By becoming an Apprentice Metalhead, you'll be given early access to the shows, published 24 hours before everyone else gets it. You're also going to receive 3 entries in any contest that we do here at the Metal Forge. You're also going to receive a 10% discount on all Metal Forge merch, and you're going to receive a sweet Metal Forge patch for your battle jacket or backpack. And now, here is the big one. This is the Master Metalhead for just $10 a month. By becoming a Master Metalhead, you will receive a hand-numbered Metal Forge Master Metalhead membership card. You're going to be given early access to the shows as well, with 36 hours before everyone else. You're going to receive 5 entries in any contest that we do here at the Metal Forge. You'll be able to submit audio questions that I will use on the show of you asking questions to the upcoming guests. Remember, timing is everything, and you will need to keep up with the upcoming guest list on the website. You're also going to receive advanced knowledge of any new merch coming out and be given a 25% discount on all Metal Forge merch. And you're also going to get all of the other rewards from the other tiers. So visit patreon.com/Metal Forge Radio today and help support the Metal Forge. Rock on.